Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. My name is Zenobia Harris, and I am the CEO for the Kent Chamber of Commerce. So on behalf of myself, my staff, and the board, we'd like to welcome you to our September luncheon. Today we are hosting the candidates for City Council, so thank you guys for making yourselves available. Today is going to be it's going to be a good day, right? We've got on your table, there are table cards where you are able to ask any question you like. What will happen is you'll give those questions cards up to myself. Araya, raise your hand, and also Mindy, which I'm sure you guys are aware of, if you have any questions. So today, you'll also see on your table there are the investor cards. Without our investors, programming like this would not be available. So if you are an investor level member or with a company that's an investor level, can you please stand while you are recognized? And thank you so much for your service. Thank you. We're clapping, they're standing. Awesome. Okay. And this September luncheon is also sponsored by MSC, which is Multi-Service Center. And Multi-Service Center, or MSC, is a nonprofit human service agency serving the South King County area with resources for individuals and families living in poverty to help them find stability. MSC's mission is to build a future without poverty by creating pathways to help, hope, and dignity. MSC's programs include housing, energy assistance, education assistance, employment, a clothing bank, the Federal Way Food Bank, and the Washington State Long-Term Care Ombudsman, where's she at? Where's Sarah? Ombuds program. So MSC, they're sponsoring today. They would actually like to invite you to attend their 6th annual MSC Helps Luncheon to learn more about the work that they're doing in the community. The luncheon will be held on the 17th of October at Emerald Downs. It's free to attend, but with a suggested donation. This year's event is chaired by King County Council member Pete Von Reichbauer and will feature keynote speaker Dr. Brenda Combs, who will share her story of overcoming poverty. This year's MSC will be presenting its inaugural Help, Hope, Change Award for Community Impact to Orion Industries, former CEO John Tyson. Invitations are actually on your table, and they would really hope to see you there. So if you have any more information or questions about MSC, Sarah, can I have you stand? Sarah's in the back, in the blue. Sarah, she can answer any questions that you have. Thank you so much for the work that you do for the community. And with that being said, I am going to introduce you to our moderator for the day. Our moderator is Carmen Goers, and she is the co-chair of our government affairs at the Kent Chamber. Woohoo! Yes, Carmen has kept me alive here for the last 5 months. So Carmen is my go-to person. She's also the president of the South Sound Chamber of Commerce Legislative Coalition. And when she is not volunteering her time, spending time with her family, she is the vice president over at Heritage Bank. Yes, awesome. So please welcome Carmen Goers.
Thank you, Zenobia. And I forgot to update. I am now past chair of the coalition, but secretary. I know. Things keep moving. I'm still around. So one, I want to say the candidates have been placed in a random order. So there's no, they all know that, right? You're all good with it? Okay, perfect. We are going to be courteous to one another. We're going to have a good, speedy conversation. But due to time constraints, we're going to limit our responses to 90 seconds. And for those that have been around a while, they know that I'm very much a stickler to that point. So you will get a green card when you are, you'll get a 30-second green card over here in the corner, and then you'll get a 5-second red card, and then we will remind you that your time is up. You can't see the card? Okay. Do you want to come here? We will address that. There you go. Thank you for letting us know. So thank you to all the candidates for taking your time and talent and energy to participate in this process. We do appreciate your service. And thank you to the audience for your attendance today, and thank you in advance for your courtesy to the candidates. As Plato once stated, if you do not take an interest in the affairs of your government, then you are doomed to live under the rule of fools, and we don't want that now, do we? So the questions on your table, if you want to ask a specific question, please take time to fill out the card. We will pick those cards up after the second question, which is approximately 25 to 30 minutes from now, and hand them to one of the Kent Chamber staff members for us to review. Okay, so we are going to start with Mr. Bill Boyce on the very end. I would like you to, in 90 seconds, introduce yourselves and let us know your skills or talents that make you uniquely qualified to do the job that you are running for. Nope, it's not on.
On? Okay, there we go. Thank you, Carmen. Also, thanks the Chamber for having this event. I thank you as leaders for being here to sit here and listen to your future council member. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I have been married to my wife, Debbie, for 33 years. We have 5 beautiful kids, all went through the Kent School District, all graduated from college, all productive members of society. I also have 5 beautiful grandkids who really keep me going, keep me young. A little about my work. I work for the Bowen Company. I'm an HR leader. Been there for 31 years. For me, it's all about leadership, proven leadership. I first learned about leadership when I was in the military, when I served my country. I was an Airborne Ranger paratrooper, had the opportunity to serve with some great leaders, 4-star generals in the Army, who taught me a lot about leadership. Also, I have been endorsed by all of my council member that showed I have a proven track or working together and building collaboration amongst my peers. To me, being a good leader is all about listening, right? You have to be able to listen to people. You have to be able to be available and also be able to be there for them. So
thank you. Hira, you're next. I'm serious about my 90 seconds.
I learned it from Bill, so I'll stop at credit card. So my name is Hira Singh Buller. I'm a Kent resident from last 11 years. I have 2 younger kids going to Kent School District. My flyer's outside there. I'm an immigrant from India. By profession, I'm a software engineer. So I'm working in various companies, different businesses, from transportation to flooring, and from last 11 years, I'm working with Starbucks. So that brings me to a lot of experience in business, and part of that is from last so many years, I'm serving Kent through a lot of non-profits. I'm sit on board at Kent Youth Family Services. Y is coming. I'm on board of Y. Various boards also, like about 6 or 7. So that experience in the business and experience in community service. And I talk to people, I hear the problems, walking doors, and that teach me that what Kent needs. And that's what I want to bring on council and to be a next council member. Thank you.
Well, I'm a very blessed man. First of all, Bill jumps out of airplanes. I was in the Army. I stayed on the ground. And I have a tremendous wife, Pauline, for 51 years. Grew up in Kent. I'm the only one up here that actually went to all the Kent schools through life. And I have a master's in business administration, so I know how to handle the money part of things at the city. But I'm even blessed, even when I had my left leg amputated last year. It's pretty amazing. I'm blessed because a good pair of socks will last you twice as long. The only disadvantage probably is when I go swimming now, because I always swim in circles. So I've been a big part of the city. I've accomplished a lot. I know that one person can make a big difference, and I've learned that. And I've been able to work with the mayor, who has endorsed me, as have most of the council members. We work as a team. They want me back. I want to be there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Les. Todd?
Hi, I'm Todd Miner, and typically, when you're sitting in an audience like this, there's 3 questions that go through your head. 1, who is this guy? 2nd, what qualifies him to be here? And 3rd, how does his message impact me? So I am a father of 5. My wife and I are super proud of our 5 kids. All the kids that are school age, they go to Kent schools. I moved to Washington about 10 years ago from Connecticut. And, I've been involved with my church. I serve as a deacon there in Kent. So that's really who I am. What qualifies me to be here is, for work, I lead a big business for Microsoft. I serve as the chief of staff for the corporate vice president of small, medium business worldwide. I work with the police chief, Chief Padilla, on the community diversity program that he has. I'm a member of the Kent Park and Recs Commission. And so I'm all in. I also, as a director of my homeowners association. And then my message, like knocking on doors. I knocked on a bunch of doors. I didn't want to do any paper in this campaign, and I knocked on a bunch of doors. And there's 3 themes that I heard from residents: homelessness, safety, and taxes. And that's where I'm going to spend my time on the city council. Thanks so much for being here.
You're trying to take my job. Marley, you're next.
Thank you. My name is Marley Larmer, and as many of you know, I've had the honor of serving you on council now for a little over a year after being appointed last summer. And I've been part of this community since 1990. Moved here with my parents when Kent was a very, very different place. I've seen the city grow and evolve and the changes that's brought, some of the challenges and struggles as well. I moved here permanently with my husband in 2009. We have 2 children in elementary and middle school in the Kent School District. And I've served mostly around being involved with my children's activities. I've been a PTA mom, a Girl Scout troop leader, a soccer mom, a ballet mom. And through my connections in the community, I knew that Kent had a lot of unspoken potential. We are doing a lot of things right. We have a lot of amenities and assets, but we need to tell that story. So I am a marketing consultant by profession, so I felt it was a good fit for me to get involved and help tell Kent's story. And that, I think, is probably my favorite part of the job, is meeting with residents one-on-one on the weekends when they have issues and concerns, and helping them navigate the city systems and understand what we do and what we can provide, and on a regional level, telling that story as well.
Thank you, Marley. Zandria.
Hi, I'm Zandria Michaud, and it's an honor to be here today. I grew up in Kent. I actually went to all Kent schools as well. I was also in the Army. I did not jump out of airplanes. I'm a mother and a community advocate as well, and I'm running for Kent City Council because I want to improve the quality of life for Kent residents. And that means not only ensuring that people feel safe in their home and their neighborhood by investing in community policing and creating a clear homelessness strategy, but that also means supporting our business community, because people need places to live, they do need places to live, but they also need places to work, shop, and dine, and those things impact quality of life. So I am looking forward to hearing your questions today, and I hope that I can answer them to the best of my ability. And I'm uniquely qualified because I am out there working hard. I'm putting in the time and effort to meet with residents, to talk to city staff, to talk to council members, so I can learn as much as I can. Thank you.
Thank you. Awali.
There it is. Hi again. My name is Awali Farah. I've lived with my beautiful wife, Shamso Isaac, and 4 children in Kent for about 20 years now. By training, I am an engineer. I worked for Boeing, I worked for AT&T, and why am I running? I'm running because coming from a family that public service was very important, I wanted to make sure that the city that has been thriving to me and my family, I give back. So therefore, I'm thinking of working on issues such as economic development, housing, and transportation. One of the reasons that I feel I'm qualified to do that is because I've myself owned a small business. I've started a small business, and I've owned to make sure that the obstacles that are facing small businesses are not there. So therefore, the city can thrive and more people can get better paying jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, Maizan.
Thank you very much for offering this forum. I am Mizan Rahman. I'm running for Kent City Council position number 5. I came into this city as a first-generation immigrant 12 years ago. We are fortunate enough that City of Kent welcomed my family and then provided all the opportunity to bring up my children. I have 2 children. Both of them got their schooling locally, and then both of them graduated from University of Washington. My son is a dentist, and my daughter is a junior at the dental school of University of Washington. I have a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering and environmental engineering and master's in business administration, and I have a PhD in environmental management systems. I am currently working as a senior capital project manager for wastewater division of King County for the last 12 years. So from my community services, I've been involved with several committees of the city as well as nonprofit organizations. I came to know that I have enough experience. I have more than 35 years of experience, and my community services and my immigration background all gives me the qualifications to serve our Kent City Council. Given the opportunity, I will promote active community participation and make our city government more accessible to the resident of Kent. Thank you.
You. Oh, Wally, leave your mic on. No, sorry, Wally. Mizan, sorry. The first question is going to start with you. Kent is the economic engine powering the Puget Sound region. Our manufacturing and distribution center is the second largest on the West Coast and ranks 4th in the nation. How do you plan on keeping Kent attractive to business?
Okay, thank you for this good question. We know Kent is a warehouse city, but due to sales streaming tax, so these opportunities are fading away. So we have to generate revenue for our city. We have to find out alternatives. How can we use those areas for better productivity, like bringing in high-tech industries and bringing in more business that supports the high-tech industries and so on. And then I would concentrate bringing in facilities for job training facilities into our city, and these are the areas where we can build it up. So we have 130,000 population, so we have to have our own local workforce to feed our industries, our businesses, and our small businesses and other economic activities city offers. So my idea would be to reduce our relying on the warehouses. Rather, we will convert into high-tech industries and bring in other retail shops and others so that we can generate enough revenue and prosper the economic development for our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Wally, same question.
How would I make it, Kent City to be more attractive to business? That's the question, right?
Correct.
So if you look at City of Kent, it's in a very strategic location in county or even the state. It is between 405, I-5, and 167. So therefore, I would unapologetically advertise Kent is a place of business. Kent is open for business. For any business that want to locate in Kent, it is a very good strategic location to be in. Second, as former small business owner, I will make sure that small businesses have the ability to start seamlessly and to make sure that small businesses are started in an easier way possible that I've experienced before. We want to make sure that we streamline. Because of that, now we are more of a high-tech location, so we can streamline starting small business. Third, I want to make sure that transportation is addressed. Because if a small business has people that are working for them and they cannot get to work, it's going to be very difficult. So I will work with the regional South King County to make sure that our transportation is addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Sandria.
So I have three different things that I would like to see. I think one would be incentives for businesses to occupy existing storefronts. We have a lot of open, empty places in Kent, and residents would really appreciate it if there were businesses in those places, and so they're not attracting crime. And so I'd like to see some sort of incentive for that. Another thing is that we need to make sure that we have infrastructure for for the workers. So that means making sure that workers have places to go for lunch and they have beautiful parks, because happy workers are more productive. And then the last thing, to go off what Awali was saying, is that we need to convince the state to improve 167. That would really alleviate a lot of the traffic on our streets and help improve the transportation for businesses.
Thank you. Marlee.
Thank you. I think one of the most important things that we need to do going forward with our business community is continue to listen and talk and find out what is working and what needs to improve. I'm really encouraged by the city's efforts with the Rally of the Valley, because we have a steering committee made up of all of our businesses in the Valley that are helping us formulate the future. We're kind of at a precipice of taking Kent to the next level and taking Kent into the future. And we're having those conversations jointly. So I think it's important that we continue to work together. I would also like to see some sort of incubator program to help us build out and support new small businesses in the community. I know other communities in the area have done that, and I had the pleasure several years ago participating in one that was offered by Green River, and I think that program went away. So I would like to see what the city can do to help residents that want to start a small business start one here in the community. And then in addition, I think definitely, and it is included in the Rally of the Valley plan, is creating a pedestrian-friendly and pedestrian-safe valley where our workers can know that they can walk safely to the bus, they can get where they need to go. There's different modes of transportation available to them, that we open up the valley loops as a way to bypass traffic.
Thank you for your answer. Todd, you're next.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. First, any business owner, any leader, you recognize the most important asset that you have is your people, the people who are going to execute your vision. So we have to spend time in making sure that folks, that Kent is a desirable place to work. And so that comes back, work and also live. And that comes back to ensuring that we have a safe community, that there is infrastructure for transportation, and then there's certainly options for folks to go to happy hour after work and such, and make it a really desirable place for people to live. That's the first piece. Second, I would say to attract new businesses to Kent, we need to have a strong relationship with the school system. And let's work with the trade schools to make it there's curriculum. So we are training our kids for the jobs of tomorrow in manufacturing. So they come out of high school, if they decide not to go to college, that they can get the trade learnings in our public schools to be a workforce for these incoming businesses. And then lastly, as a small business owner, opening up a small business here in Kent, the tax incentives. We have to get creative and bring more creativity to how we give tax relief to businesses that want to invest in Kent.
Thank you. Les.
Well, each of the candidates have come up with some pretty good ideas, and certainly I've always bragged about Kent being in the middle of this Puget Sound area for Seattle in the north, Tacoma in the south. SeaTac is our airport. If we annex Des Moines, we could have a seaport. But this area is...
Is that on the ballot coming up?
No.
That was breaking news.
I was able to get a certain area of Kent annexed, but that's another story of Panther Lake. But each of them have talked about the Kent schools. We've got some of the best schools. We've got some of the best parks, because they do want to come to a place. People who are moving and looking for a job, looking for a home, are looking for a place that has good things for their children, good schools, and certainly we meet those requirements. But it's not just attracting jobs. We need to attract, I believe, high-paying jobs. And certainly companies like Boeing, Blue Origin, they are just great paying jobs, and when that attracts others in that same kind of business. So I think we're on the right track. We just need to continue going. And certainly the infrastructure for traffic is a very important thing because, again, people want to get around.
All right. Thank you, Les. Hira.
So this is a great question. So I think most of these guys covered it, but looking for a business, if I look myself, I have to look placed for a business. Obviously, as Les said, location. Kent is a great location, close to airport, between freeways. What else we're looking for is infrastructure, better roads. Public safety is very important. If you have a crime in your town, no business owner is going to come into your town and open a business. So we need to fix that. We need to provide a better, the infrastructure in ways that I'm talking about. I heard a lot of complaints from people about permitting issues. Like, I think you all sitting here, business owners, you've seen those issues. I think it's better, smooth transition. The paperwork is easy for them to do. On the other side, what I like to see is everybody else said that, as Les mentioned, the high-paid job. So we need to attract businesses which can give us better revenue. Because if we're putting a lot of warehouses and not getting revenue, that is also not good. So we need to bring in more businesses like manufacturing. Boeing is selling their land. I don't know who's going to buy. Hopefully, Blue Origin will buy the land and expand it, their feet there. So that's what I'm looking for, is better jobs, better companies, and better infrastructure.
Thank you. Bill.
Okay, thanks, Carmen. You know, I've been on the council for 8 years. My whole entire 8 years I have served on the Economic Development, ECDC, right? You know, in Kent Valley, we got over 10,000 jobs in the Kent Valley alone, business, right? Business, I should say. In the last 10 years, there's 37,000 new jobs have been developed in Kent. 37,000 in the last 10 years, right? Also, in the last 10 years, Kent had grown 27% in job, which outperformed Pierce County and outperformed King County. So we're doing a lot of good things. I want us to continue to do what we're already doing, continue to build on that. We got great company like Blue Origin. Originally coming in, it was going to bring about 2,000 employees in. Now they're looking at bringing 45,000 employees. We got Amazon coming in. The Boeing company is still making a presence here. We really focus a lot on bringing an aerospace company in job. We want to make this an aerospace alliance in Kent. Great opportunity. We have quite a few companies knocking on our doors want to come to Kent. So we are doing a lot of good things. I want us to continue to do a lot of good things. And also in our warehouse, we need to kind of add other type of business in between the warehouse, like a McDonald's or something that can give you $50,000 for revenue just like that, right? So we got to integrate their warehouse and not be so dependent on warehouse. But I want us to continue to build on what we're doing and continue to make a success and make people wanting to bring their company, their employees into the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you do one thing? Can you clarify the number of jobs you said Blue Origin anticipates bringing in?
I think I heard last time it was right around 45,000.
45,000.
4 to 5.
Oh, 4 to 5.
Not
okay.
45, no.
You know, a comma between friends.
I see why you asked that question. 4 to 5.
4
okay?
to 5.
Yes.
Just want to make sure we have that accurately.
I didn't want to get you too excited now.
I have a job to go do. Okay, so I'm going to stay with you, Bill. The Kent City Council has stated that although the fiscal cliff is no longer a worry, we continue to have a structural imbalance where expenses outweigh our revenues. What are your thoughts on addressing the imbalance?
Well, first of all, our problem was a fiscal cliff that we were facing over the last few years, and I want to say thanks to the business who helped us in the community to try to tackle that fiscal cliff. So we no longer have to worry about the fiscal cliff in the city. We do have that infrastructure imbalance. Kent is not the only one to have the infrastructure balance. All cities are faced with the infrastructure imbalance, right? So my thing is we need help from the state, right? I mean, because everything that happened is happening at the local level. All good things in the state is happening at the local level. So I'd like to see some type of help and incentive come from us from the state. We continue to, like I said earlier, bring more business in and try to increase revenue, but at the same time, we need to do everything we can to decrease our expenses as well, too. But the situation that we're in is no different in our neighbor city, Auburn, Renton, Federal Way. We all face with an infrastructure imbalance based on our revenue It's roughly maybe 3% every year in our expenses, because we have to pay employees based on contract union. That could be anywhere from 3 to 5%. So it's a challenge that we're going to have to work with the state to try to help solve that problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Hira, your thoughts?
So I think the physical cliff, is no longer there, but I see the money came from state as temporary as for next few years. So we continue. This may come back again if we don't find a long-term solution for this one. And as Bill said, this thanks to business community, I think that's the biggest source. You all bringing the money to city, and this is what the previous question was about, to need to bring in businesses to Kent, which create better jobs for the community as well as a good money for city, because we need to find a good source of revenue. As temporary, this is like a state was hanging a sword on our head. Okay, you have 3 years, you have 2 years, you have 5 years. So that sword needs to go away, and then we say we are self-sufficient. We now need to worry. Definitely we need a permanent solution from state also. The state need to help us, because if they took us money from us, they need to pay us in some way, which is a continued revenue, which they took from us. So that's one my take on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Les?
I'm known on the council as the anti-tax person. I was the single vote that voted against the B&O tax when it came up. There's something you should know, that thanks to our leadership of Council President Bill Boyce, the mayor, and the council, we now have a little surplus. Not just a little, actually, it's pretty good. We wanted to put like 18% away into like a savings account. Well, we have now 24%. So my whole feeling is, why should we try to continue to tax our citizens when we have some to take care of? We have some money to take care of some of our needs, and that's kind of my philosophy.
Thank you, Les. Todd?
Yeah, Les, look, I think I'll be joining you as the, no tax. I think that, yes, we certainly need to have some help from the state and also King County. We have to find a way to get King County to not just work for Seattle and not just work for Bellevue. We need King County to work for South King County, or we need to just break away and start our own county.
Is this breaking news? Do we have more breaking news? Okay.
No. But
Steve,
look,
I'm trying to help you out with highlights.
You're taking my time now. I got you taking my time. So I think, I'm just joking. I think, one, we need to advocate and have great relationships to pull down resources from King County and the state. That's one. But second, we got to control what we can control. We need to be a better steward of the resources that we have. I'm glad that we have a surplus, but I think that we need to continue to make tough decisions, because as a business owner, when the B&O tax increases, you have to make a tough decision. And so I think that, at the city, we have to be very transparent with the business community as well as the residents on the tough decisions that we're making them, and make them loud and proud, and then let the business community come and create jobs and create additional revenues, as well as entice people to move to Kent and build a family and own a home and pay property tax that way.
I'm giving you a few more seconds.
Okay. It's all good.
She gave you a few more seconds. Marley.
Thank you. So I sit with Bill on the Economic Development Committee, and for me, it comes down to diversifying the businesses that we have in the community. We know that manufacturing doesn't pay the bills anymore, and we're taking steps to bring in new business types and new revenue that way. I'm also really proud of the work we did last year to make the tough choices and cut $2 million from our general fund where we could. Those were not easy choices to make, but we dug in deep and we did what we had to do, and we are now on a sustainable path forward, and I am proud of that. I do think that there is a role for the state to play. Streamlined sales tax mitigation is a mouthful, and I think we need to reframe that conversation as we need the state and the ports to help support us in the infrastructure costs of being so strategically placed between two major ports on the West Coast. And I think with that support from the county and the state and our plan to diversify our portfolio of businesses, we can deal with the structural imbalance that we will always face, because that's just what happens in municipal government right now.
I just want to clarify one point. You said that manufacturing no longer pays the bills.
I'm sorry, warehousing.
That's why I wanted
Yes.
you to clarify. Thank you. Zandria.
Yeah, so the structural imbalance is a very serious issue. 75% of city employees are in a union, and so their contracts say, you know, they get an increase of whatever the cost of living is per year, and yet what we're bringing in is only going up 1%. So I agree with Bill that yes, we need help from the state. You know, we don't even have enough money for all the projects that we need to complete for transportation. There's a $14 million budget shortfall there. There's a $60 million budget shortfall in parks. And so that's a lot of money, and we definitely need to work with the state to get money from them. And then, as Todd was saying, we also need to ensure that the county is being equitable. Oftentimes it feels like Kent is being overlooked in certain areas for things like grants, and so we need to make sure that not just Seattle or Bellevue are getting all the funds for the county.
Thank you.
Okay, so in order to be able to even get into a fiscal cliff is, first of all, we have to increase revenue. And in order to increase revenue, we have to get better paying jobs in the city of Kent. I've worked for AT&T and lived in Kent, commuted to Redmond every day because of that high paying job. Why can't we attract those high paying jobs in Kent and unapologetically advertise Kent is a place where any company can come and do business? We also need to make sure that Kent has the ability to also allow other small businesses to be able to start, because small business is what creates jobs that people who live in the community have, because the revenue that is generated in Kent needs to stay in Kent. One of the other things that I've noticed is that most people who work at Boeing or other companies, large companies, they live somewhere else. So why can't we negotiate with them and ask them, please give priority to those who live in Kent so that the revenue that they generate in Kent stays in Kent? Thank you.
Thank you. Mizan.
So the important question is, what we get, are we spending the same amount? Our trend shows that the city of Kent's revenue is increasing at the rate of roughly 1.5%, whereas our expenditures, because union jobs and others in our city, it goes around 3%. So gap is widening. It's not reducing. And fiscal cliff, state has given you, we are losing more than $7 million, and state has given only $4 million. There is no certainty that there will be continuation of that, so we cannot rely on that. So there should be a budget growth also. That growth is not there. Okay, so how can you grow that one? In order to grow the revenue, we have to grow the business. And in order to bring in business, we have to bring in the proper environment. We have to provide the safety to our businesses and entrepreneurs. We have to provide the infrastructures, right infrastructures. And then we have to provide the park and recreation services, and we have to provide the transportation. So all these requires a big budget. So I am the person who has that experience. I work for King County. I know, I have a vision, I have a plan, and I know how to source funding. So we have to give our effort, and we have to continue increasing our budget size, not reducing it.
Thank you. Thank you. So I want to take the time now to say that are there any additional questions out there that you'd like to forward to be asked? Okay, there's one more back there too. All right, we'll get those forward. And then we're going to go to a speed round. Ooh, yes. So this is a thumbs up, thumbs down. This is, get our cardio in. So your thumbs up is you agree or in favor of. Thumbs down, you disagree or not in favor of. Or thumbs neutral, which is you have not formed an opinion yet. Okay? Now, I will say that at the end of this round, there's just 4 questions. You will have 90 seconds to expand on any of your responses. Okay? Does that sound fair? Oh, I don't know where to stand. You always have a choice, but there's consequences to your choices. Sorry. Okay, so where should I be that can be seen? Okay, thumbs. Well, they can't see you. Okay, so thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs neutral. I need hands up. Hands up, just neutral for now. You gotta do one. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so interim zoning ordinance to limit large truck intense warehouse projects. In favor of? Disagree? Okay, so are you in favor of or disagree with, thumbs up, thumbs down, the interim zoning ordinance to limit large truck intense warehouse projects? So you have thumbs up all the way around. Okay, second, are you in favor or disagree with a cap on school impact fees on multifamily developments for school district funding? Unless you got to get higher, we can't see. Okay. Question 3, on the property tax levy lid to fund the police department, are you in favor, disagree with it, or have not formed an opinion? Okay. And number 4, a partnership with South King County Housing and Homeless Partnership to address affordable housing concerns. Okay, so we're going to start with Mizan, and you have 90 seconds to address your responses to any of those 4 items. Is there anything you want to add to or comment on?
Okay, so all of these 4 questions?
No, not all of them, just any one that you may want to give explanation to.
Okay, so I would pick homeless situation because
Okay.
it's a critical issue and it has multiple consequences. Homelessness comes with some kind of diseases, mental illness, and then job-related things. So in our city, homeless population is increasing dramatically. 3 years ago, it was less than 200. Now it is more than 400, roughly. So, and they are occupying parks and recreation areas, open spaces. So I have 2 kind of approach to address this situation. Short term, to work collaboratively with the local nonprofit and churches to give the temporary shelter and then counseling for the rehabilitation of mental illness, and then give them the job counseling and training so that they can go back to the normal life. And I will work with South County, King County Forums, as well as King County Housing Authority and Puget Sound Housing Authority for a long-term plan for permanent sheltering, permanent rehab, and permanent job training facilities for them so that they can never come back to homelessness situation once they are rehabilitated. Thank you.
Thank you. Awali. Oh, no, pass. Zandria.
Sure. So I'm actually going to change one of my answers. It's really hard to just do thumbs up, thumbs down on something right now, especially when you don't have all the information and you're not exactly sure and you haven't done any research on it. So I'm actually going to change my answer for the school one, because I think that instead what we need to do is demand accountability from the school district. A significant portion of our property taxes are going to the Kent School District, and so, the city doesn't get a whole lot of our property taxes. A lot of that is going to the school district. And of course, I think public education is important, and of course, the school district needs money, but I think we really need to do a better job of holding them accountable for where their money is going.
Thank you. Marlee?
Yeah, I would just like to comment on my answer on the property tax lid lift for offending police. I would much prefer to see us go to the voters with a utility tax as we had before. I think it's a more equitable tax, and I'm concerned that our property owners are already tax burdened.
Yeah.
Todd?
Yeah, thank you. I think I agree with Zandria. I would love to not had to vote, but there's times that you just have to make a gut call. For the police, look, fundamentally we need more police officers, and safety is my core priority. If you take if you take Central and you go up James and you go up Smith and you go all the way back to Covington, there's only 3 cops at one time patrolling that area, 3 to 4 cops. That's a densely populated area. We have to change that. We need more police. Second, on the homelessness front, I have a ton of empathy for folks who have fallen on hard times. And there's certainly mechanisms to catch those folks, whether there's some nonprofits in the room here that are doing some really great work, but the folks who fundamentally don't want to change their behavior and they aggressively panhandle, there's time for accountability. And so I think that I want to spend my time investing in the police department and other services to, 1, place folks that want to be placed, but then 2, hold those accountable who are making it uncomfortable for my kids to play in the park.
Les?
I'm going to change it up a little bit. Some of you may know that I served not only the few years here on the council, but I served on the King County Council and I served on the legislature in 5 years in Olympia. My big project back then was Highway 509. It's taken over 20 years that I've been working on that, and a lot of people, and it's almost coming to fruition here this year as it hooks up to Military Road. So my point is, we have a major problem, and that is Covington and Maple Valley and Black Diamond are going huge building projects. And I see the mayor of Covington is here with us. I can't blame him. I'd encourage growth too, but they're going to actually have a whole new city with like 5,000 new homes, residences. Those people have to come off the hill and they have to come down Kent. Kent has to pay for that, and I can't convince Jeff to help pay for a new paving. But the point is,
More breaking news. Covington pays for the freeway.
We have to prepare for the needs. Now, Mayor White, Mayor Ralph, and Suzette Cook, those people really help with the new roads that we have going east and west, 228th Veterans Drive, et cetera, 227th. Those are all great, but we need more. We need to plan, and it takes time. But we don't have a lot of time. It's coming fast. Right, Jeff?
Thank you, Les. A clarifying point, though, Les, as you're speaking, is it not uncommon for other cities to help another municipality with funding transportation projects?
Yeah, Jeff, is it real common?
I believe
Sometimes.
Burien at some point helped with one of the overpasses many years ago as well. That's why I brought that up. All right. Hira, please.
Yeah, so I'd like to, I don't want to change my answers, but I'd like to comment on the first one and the last one. The one, I remember that once we passed the ordinance in council, I think everybody from different towns were here in council and asking for, why are you doing it? So when we were in a physical cliff, we need money in this Kent. Nobody showed up. When we said we're going to blocking the bigger warehouses, everybody showed up. So Kent need, as we as Scotians, we need a better utilize our space. We need businesses, but we need businesses to get more money. If you look at now, a small, tiny, bitty Starbucks gives more money to city than a bigger warehouse. So that make your decision there. And I'm going to comment on the last one. I serve on King County, the new board, which is for veterans, seniors, and human resources levy board, which is more and serving towards seniors and veterans and human resources. But part of that, what I notice is more focus is on Bellevue, north part of the county. South King County is somewhere lacking. So as Todd mentioned earlier, I think we need to get more money from county, and then we need more public housing here. We need to we have similar housing homelessness problems. We need to solve it. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to clarify a point that you spoke before you give the mic up. So you had mentioned about our industrial warehousing and how that didn't bring money in, people weren't showing up. Kent has historically been known as an industrial warehouse area. So what do you see, kind of briefly, as what do we look like in 20 years if we're going to revamp that vision of ourselves?
I want to see that the same money coming back to Kent. Basically, we used to get sales tax. Okay, state took the sales tax away from us, give us something in return. It's not that you took something from us and you're not giving anything back. What do? We have to take some action.
Thank you.
That's not quite true.
Are we? Okay, we'll let you rebut.
All right.
Bill?
Thank you very much. I am personally not a big fan of raising taxes, because most people see me as someone of conservative, right? But one thing about the police officer, that's one we pick and choose what we want to pay for, and I strongly support going out to the voter to raise money to hire more police officer. When I first came on the council, I have also been on public safety since day one. We had 130 officer. A city of our size should have about 190. So our goal was to do 160. So we put in a budget that hired 3 new officers in the general fund every year. So today we are at 158. We should be at 190. So when you look at all the 51 states, including Washington, D.C., we rank last in police officer per ratio for population. And we talk about public safety. If you don't have public safety part of your DNA in the city, you're going to be in a world of trouble. So I would strongly support going out and giving the voters the opportunity. We need to tell our story on why we want to hire more police officer. Todd talked about 3 officers on the East Hill. This would allow us more time to put the officer out there on the East Hill, also on the bike. So I would like to take it to the voters and have the voter have the option to say yay or nay on whether or not to raise taxes. I'm not a big tax guy, but I'm okay taking to the voters and have them have the opportunity to say yes or no. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bill. And actually, Marlee, I want to go back to something that you had mentioned regarding utility tax. The last Proposition A was overwhelmingly defeated by the city, by the residents in funding police using utility tax. So how do you anticipate doing it differently that the voters would change?
Well, I think what hurt us most in that was we're on the ballot with some other measures at the same time. I think timing had a lot more to do with that, because as I'm out talking to residents, there is an appetite for more officers, and they know we are understaffed. So the appetite is there, and people want to fund this. I think timing was a big problem with the last round.
Okay, I just wanted you to clarify that
Yeah, I
point.
appreciate it.
Okay, so our last round of questions that we have available for time, correct? Okay, so I'm going to start with Bill and work back this way. We've talked a lot about how you're going to bring business to Kent, but we have businesses here that are struggling, some that are needing to relocate because of our tax structure here. What do you see as an opportunity for us to help our existing business owners who have invested and spent time here in Kent to help retain that business? Because in addition, I'm just kind of going off some questions here, in order to attract businesses, you may have to give them tax incentives to come. So that's going to be a kind of who's the stepchild and who's the favored child, right? Or is the perception? So Bill, do you want to kind of spend 90 seconds addressing that?
Thank you very much. All business are important. Small business, large business. We're talking about business like Boeing, Amazon, or even your small Subway sandwich, mom and pop. They're all important, and I like to see them all stay, because you're talking about having people maybe having their first time job at somebody here, a smaller company. Would I be in favor of some type of tax incentive program? I mean, yes, we had to kind of work this as a team. We had to work with the business people, had to work with Chamber to try to figure out exactly what that looks like. But every business that leave Kent and go somewhere else is not good for us. Every business that go out of business in Kent is not a good thing. So I think it'd be something that we have to work together, working with the chamber leaders and the business owner to try to figure out exactly what can we do to try to help them sustain and stay in business. So it would be a joint effort of all us working together to try to figure that out. But every business is important, small or large.
Thank you.
So this is a large topic, hard to cover everything in 90 seconds, but I will talk about small businesses now. Basically, if we see in downtown area, a lot of empty businesses, shops there, nobody's there. So here's what my thought is. Kent is different now what it was. Kent is the most diverse city in, I think, probably, if I'm not wrong, in the States. So we have a lot of immigrant population. I'm being an immigrant. If I do my shopping, I do in East Hill, because all my Indian stores, grocery stores are whatever I want to buy from there. One thing is, we need to bring more immigrant-based businesses in downtown. So bring in the traffic. It's not about just giving them tax benefit, it's the customer. You give me tax benefit, if there is no customer, there is no point of putting business there. I want customers to be in downtown. So big and downtown development and what Mayor Jim White did, that's awesome work, but we need to do more, bring in more businesses, different kind of businesses in Kent downtown, so we can, this is about downtown. But the largest businesses, some businesses like Boeing is selling land, we don't know why, because they have a different plan. But if we know the root cause of businesses, if we have some feedback from businesses who's leaving Kent, we definitely need to work on that.
Thank you. And the chamber will give you the reasons businesses are leaving Kent. Zenovia has a list waiting for you pretty soon. Les.
I owned a small business downtown Kent, Second and Meeker. You see the children's bookstore is now. That was my store. It was called Blessings Jewelry Store. Had it for 20-some years. The thing that small business needs is customers. Now that sounds kind of silly, but it's true. Because I grew up in Kent over the last 70 years, I watched it grow from a village to a town and finally a large city. So in that process, Kent was treated, now this is going back several administrations ago, so I can't blame anybody recently, but they treated Kent as a place to get around, downtown especially, and not a point of destination, which we would like it to be. So what they did was they did some strange things. They made Smith Street going one way, past Curran's place there, and then they had Gow Street going the other way. So traffic was diverted from Meeker Street. Well, I used to see 8,000 cars a day in front of my store. Now, it was dwindled down to nothing, to the point that in 1992, I had to get out, as did Penny's, as did Ben Franklin, and many, many other small stores. So we need traffic to bring traffic to come to Kent in order to have customers to provide for these small businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Todd?
Yeah, again, great question. First, I think that it starts with having a strong relationship with the city and business influencer groups like the Chamber. I think the Chamber and the community here is going to give us a lot of the answers that we need. Second, you hear a lot about diversity. Diversity is a business opportunity, but in order to seize that opportunity, you have to be educated in all the different diverse communities that are coming to Kent. And I think there's a place for the city to play a role in helping businesses understand the customer and the demographic of the residents. And so again, through that partnership with the business influencer groups, I would hope that we'd have a series of trainings and learnings to help business owners, again, recognize the business opportunity that comes with diversity. And then lastly, and I'm going to reiterate this again, Kent has to be a destination. It just fundamentally has to be a destination. And so it needs to be a destination for people to come work, play, have fun, catch a show, and shop. And in order for us to do that, we have to have a safe community. And so my rallying cry is for us to recognize that in order for people to come to Kent, they have to feel safe. If you look at the stats, Kent statistically looks as one of the most unsafe places in King County.
Thank you. Marlee?
Thank you. I think, on the theme of making Kent a destination, that is important because as a destination, that's where people are going to come and they're going to spend the money with our business community. And I think one of the biggest obstacles we're facing right now with being a destination or having that money spent in our business community is just time. I know that I just left a job that I spent 3 hours a day commuting. And I got that time back. And I think, we need to fix some of our transportation issues because we need to give people that free time to go spend money in our businesses, to go after work to happy hour instead of being stuck in traffic. So I think that's going to be key. There's also work being done, and I think it's definitely the right direction, on clustering our industries and helping support the industries we have here that are the space technology, and building out from those companies, what businesses support that sector, and building out a business community that makes sense based on the industry clusters, because we know that the businesses are more successful when they're sharing workforces, they're sharing suppliers, and everything is close in proximity. And I think that's going to be the key to the future of business in Kent of all sizes.
Thank you.
So I'm going to agree with everything that everyone has already said. And I'm really interested to see this list of reasons why businesses are leaving Kent, because I know that the council spent a lot of time trying to make sure that the B&O taxes were fair, especially to small businesses. So I'm looking forward to, figuring out what exactly is going on. And we need to make sure that we maintain the relationship with the chamber and businesses so that we can have this conversation. And I'm also going to agree with Todd. People need to feel safe and want to shop and eat in Kent. I'm going to put a plug in for Todd. He's opening a restaurant, and I know that right now he is dealing with people sleeping out on the sidewalk next to his restaurant on a really consistent basis. So again, we're going back to police and homelessness. All of those contribute to businesses wanting to be here in Kent.
Thank you.
One of the things that we need to be very mindful of is that when business leaves, we have to have a conversation about that business. Why is that business leaving? And we need to make sure that Kent is open for business. For example, if you look at 208, where Boeing and Amazon and all of those businesses are located, if people who work there want to come out and eat, there is none. So for me, I want to make sure that people who are coming to Kent have place to stay, place to eat, place to hang out, and open that, make sure that it is always addressed. Because Kent needs to be a destination. Why can't we have a 5-star hotel? Many a times it happens that people who come here to stay for business have to stay in 3-star hotels. Why can't we have that? So that Kent is a destination. Kent downtown needs to be vibrant, place, walkable, that we can be proud of. That's how I see 20 years from now, Kent to be.
Thank you. Maizan.
Okay. So Kent already a fertile ground for business development. So diverse community, so diverse need for the business community to supply, to meet their needs also. So as I mentioned here, that just giving the tax incentive just one of the factors, which I'm ready to negotiate case by case. But we have to create the business environment to bring in businesses into our city. So if you see the statistics, our the average household income level is below national average. So it's demand and supply. Business would come if there is a demand. So we have to improve our purchase power. So that's why I need apprentice type job training facilities into our city. We have to bring in tourism into our city. As Awali said, that we need to bring in luxury hotels into our city. We are just 10 minutes away from the airport. We have a big golf course we cannot utilize because players do not have place to stay in. So similarly, we have to bring in the transit-oriented development, the luxury development, walk-in shopping center and mixed-use development at Kent Station, and when light rail comes in, then Midway area development. These are important to bring in business and make Kent as a destination.
Thank you. So as we prepare to wrap up this forum, I want to give each candidate a minute worth of closing comments. We went through a couple of lengthy topics in a very short period of time, but if there's a question that wasn't asked that you want everyone to know about you or your candidacy, you have 60 seconds to do that. And so we're going to start with Maizan.
Okay, 60 seconds?
60 seconds.
So as I mentioned that I have international experience because I'm an immigrant, and I have seen, as a business graduate, I know and I understand what business needs are. And working with King County and developing and formulating big capital projects, I know how to source funding. So I have the ability to create business environment to bring in small, large, medium-sized businesses, industries, and then also bring in high-end income group population into our city by transit-oriented development into our city. So with this, and my experience with community services is the link between the city and the community. That's how I would strengthen our city council when I am elected as your council member. Thank you.
Thank you. Awali?
I have worked for large corporation, AT&T and Boeing, and I had to make a decision on if the company is going to buy a product on three things. One is the product that the company needs. Two, is this product can be integrated into the network seamlessly? And third, the product, what is the ability to own that product at a certain time? As a city council, I want to make sure that experience, I bring it to the city council. I had to make a decision on projects such as $250 million. And having a small business, I want to always be mindful of small businesses and why are they, what are they struggling with.
Thank you. Sandria?
So first I want to say that everyone up here running for city council really cares about the city and the people living here, and they just want Kent to be the best possible city. And so I have to tell you something that sets me apart. So what sets me apart is that I'm treating this council position and campaign as a full-time job. I just finished up my degree at UW, and I don't have another job. This means that I can thoroughly research topics and issues and ensure that I get a full picture. I have been meeting with council members, department heads, and other organizations just so I can learn about what the concerns are of residents and what is going on in the city. I've already been attending council meetings, committees, commission meetings, and talking with nonprofits and meeting with residents. And I truly value other people's ideas and comments and solutions, and I believe that together we are better. And so I am looking forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you, Sandria. Marley?
Thank you. I think one of the important things for Kent going forward is also going to be on the themes of building out a vibrant workforce and solving transportation issues is going to be affordability of housing. And I'm proud to serve on the King County Affordable Housing Council Committee, and we're having important conversations at the county level and regional level about where to spend this money that is coming in for affordable housing. And there's a saying that if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And I'm proud to be at the table and to be advocating and fighting for Kent, for our businesses who need workers that can get to work on time because they live close, and for people that don't want to be stuck in traffic because they want to be able to take public transit to their job down the hill. And so I think, in conclusion, I just want to say that I'm telling Kent's story out there locally, regionally, and fighting for us.
Thank you. Todd?
Yeah, a couple things. One other point I want to add to the previous question about helping existing small businesses. In addition to diversity, digital transformation, super important that every small business here has a digital transformation plan for your small business. But as business owners, you know that the DNA of your business is customer centricity, putting the customer at the center of everything that you do. When you take the time to think about your customers reward you with business. I think this role is the same way. Each and every one of you are my customers. Every resident in the city of Kent is my customers, and I will be the most customer-centric leader at this table. I've made a business, whether it be at work, whether it be my own personal business that I'm opening, of listening to customer. I think the good Lord gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And I'm gonna spend my time listening. Last plug for Zandria, the only candidate to have an eco-friendly water fountain thing, water container.
We're a loving crew today, aren't we? So, Les.
Thank you. First of all, thanks for coming. I had told you earlier that I've been blessed. I've been blessed to serve this community on the council for the last 16 years. And I've learned a lot. It's changed a lot. The diversity that's been mentioned several times has changed a lot. I believe strongly, and I believe that most of you do, that the council members should reflect the community in which they serve. You look around, you look up here, you're seeing a lot of diversity. And so think that I'm the only senior up here, really. Sorry. Hey, I want you to know, he and I have run a very good, clean campaign. I even helped him in his last campaign when he was running against one of the other members. And so we've enjoyed each other's company. He's a good man. He's got a good family. He's got a good job. But you're not looking for a good man. You're looking for the best man, and I am that candidate.
Thank you, Les.
Les.
Transitioning to Hira.
So, thank you, Les. Actually, that's true. That we run a clean campaign, and we don't complain about anybody. I will let you pick who is the right person. So what I want to bring is because as Les mentioned, that Kent is different. So I want to bring a different perspective. We need different ideas on the council. So what Kent is now versus what Kent was 20 years back. So with my experience in business, technology, and serving on various non-profit, I think I can bring all those. I think technology is the way to solve life of people. That's what being a technologist, I'll say that. So that's what I want to bring on the table. So I'd be honored to your next council member. So please pick up the right person, as Les said, not the good one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bill.
Thank you, Carmen. I know quite a few faces out here, right? And all you guys are leaders within your own company. And to me, it's about proven leadership, the ability to look 3 or 5 years ahead, where you want to be with your company, where you want to be with your city, right? I have opportunity to serve my country. I learned a lot of leadership in there. I spent 16 years on the Kent School Board of Education. When I left there, they had a very, very positive fund. So I want to clarify that. I spent 10 years on the Washington State Criminal Commission. I had the opportunity to be appointed by Governor Locke, and I served on that. I've been on the council for 8 years, and also 31 years at the Board of Company as an HR leader. Also had the opportunity to be a charter member of the new YMCA, which is about to open up. Hope to see you all there. But at the end of the day, it's proven leadership. I have a track record of proven leadership. Over the 8 years of the council, 90% of attendance, only 2% because of vacation, which we all need to do, but it's proven leadership. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. We won't count that 2% against you. So, on behalf of the Kent Chamber, on behalf of the business community, thank you for coming out. Thank you for participating and running for office. I'm going to turn the mic now over to Zenobia Harris to conclude our meeting today.
Yes, round of applause, please, Karen. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you so much. Thank you, future council members. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And I did hear a couple of things here. I wasn't supposed to do this, but I did hear a couple of things up there, but I just wanted to make a note. Whomever is chosen to be on city council, as a spokesperson for the business community, I would just like to say that I am open and I'm available and I am here to speak for the people in this room. So, and that kind of goes both ways. If you guys have information that I need, that we need to pass up, let's just have an open line of communication. And so I did hear everyone say that, and just so you know, everything is recorded, it's on tape, so we will replay that if we need to. But we're available here, and this was just a really good experience, and I appreciate everybody, and I appreciate the questions. And so lastly, what I'd like to do is once again give Carmen a round of applause. I think you do an awesome job